Hello and welcome to Hakuoki Kyoto Wins.
This isn't the letter.
No, it's better.
Oh, well shit.
Well, I like
Different.
it. It's different.
Yeah. I was gonna say, I don't think based on this setup we're going to get mild psychological horror and ghost things going on.
It has a little bit of supernatural elements, but at
Turn the
heart...
music down just a scotch so the microphone doesn't get feedback there.
Yeah, it's mostly just historical dating sim.
revision fiction
Yes.
in terms of the story.
It's a romance novel.
I've been told this is a remake with significantly more dudes.
Yes, the original well, I know it came on a few different platforms. The first one I played it on was the PSP, and it had 6 dudes.
So it's a remake of a not that long ago game.
Relatively speaking. But I think the game itself has been along for much longer before they finally ported it over.
Okay.
This one has 12 dudes and so many scenes that they cut the game in half, and the second half isn't out yet. So,
Is the second half going to come in as DLC or a game proper?
we'll find out.
Because I noticed there's a DLC. Kaido was the name previously used. Proceed. Hey, you spelled it right.
I wonder why.
Yeah.
It's a work of
Businesses.
fiction.
Places and event. Well,
No, we're not going to skip the prologue this time.
she has only told me that there's a couple demons in this game, and I know nothing. But she's very eager for me to see this, and I'm more curious as to why. I'm immediately getting Bleach flashbacks.
Mostly because I'm hooked on it right now, and if I can inflict things on people, I will.
You keep doing that. See Dragon Age, Persona, Little Shop of Horrors, or I'm sorry, Pet Shop of Horrors. Countless other things I could name.
I don't hear you complaining loud enough.
I don't think I complain for the most part.
No.
They're generally good things.
So this is Kyoto.
Oh, you're voicing her? Okay.
The guys have voice actors, but it is Japanese.
Ah.
So, and there's like, as I said, there's...
I don't want to voice 12 different dudes. There's
Yeah.
only so many levels of gruff I can go.
Yeah, so I think we're just gonna not do special voices.
I think I'll find one guy I want to do the voice of, maybe 2.
To be fair, not all the characters show up on all the different routes, so we're not gonna see everybody.
I'm gonna find a gruff guy I want to do the voice of who's super serious, and a guy who's super silly and I can do a silly voice for. Not the ones you hate. Not the ones you hate, but yeah.
You'll find someone.
Mm-hmm.
It was awfully impressive, no denying it.
I guess in 1864 this would have been impressive.
Yeah,
Did you ever see Samurai Champloo?
some of it.
It's very good, you would like it, and this is very reminiscent. Building style setup wise, not artwork certainly, but
Yeah.
you know, theme wise it's very similar.
That was the one where it's the 2 dudes and the girl, right?
Yes.
Yes.
I have it on Blu-ray. I can let you borrow it. And you can watch it on PS4 if you want.
Yes, because it's gone so well with every other thing I've borrowed, bought.
Given it's
etc.
normally what you borrow from me is video games that you have more time, you know, not enough time to play because you're playing other video games. I think borrowing a video format...
I still haven't watched the Hobbit trilogy that I bought for my birthday.
Oh, yeah.
Even simple hellos between people passing in the street seemed warm and friendly.
Did you miss us not proceeding in the game to talk about inane bullshit? I did.
They nodded and smiled to one another as if family and non-strangers about on errands. Still, there was something else as well. Something making the city feel strangely cold.
It was the snow.
Almost as though there was a great invisible wall shutting out anyone wandering from the country. I'm not sure if I belong here. No, that's all in my head.
Why Yukimura?
That's not, I didn't get to pick that. That's like plot reasons.
Okay.
I walked quite some distance to reach Kyoto, and both my mind and body were exhausted. Even so, tiredness was no reason to meander and feel sorry for myself. I couldn't afford to...
Meander's a good word.
Excuse me? I hesitantly stopped a passerby.
Is it a handsome young man?
No, not
No.
yet. I'm sorry, I seem to be a bit lost. Could you...
Is it an angry young man?
What am I supposed to do now?
Apparently he fucking smacked her into later in the day.
I was lost again, but in a different sort of way. I sighed and looked up at the darkening sky. The sun was beginning to set. People I had spoken to showed me no unkindness, and they'd given me directions I needed, but... Was now really the best time to leave the city? Learning the person I'd hoped to visit had left town caused hope to seep from my crumbling resolve. The only person besides Father I could rely on in the city who I could rely on, Dr. Matsumoto.
You know, as somebody who's had to write sentences like this, it does happen. You get halfway through, you go and do something, you come back, and you're like, oh yeah, relying on this guy.
Yeah, and it's like, when I was playing through it the first time, I didn't notice that.
Yeah, you don't read them out loud. That's a trick to catch errors in your writing. Read the shit out loud.
Yeah. Dr. Matsumoto was a doctor serving the shogunate. I had never met him myself, but my father put a great deal of trust in the man. I will say, this game, like, it does talk about what goes on in the Boshin War a lot. Mm-hmm. And it actually, this is probably the first game that's actually inspired me to do research on my own.
Outside of the game, yes. Because I know plenty of games that's inspired you to do research about the game further.
Well, duh. But, I mean, actual about historical
You say
shit.
that like having guides and manuals drawn up by you of how to play is a normal thing.
It might be.
No, it's not.
He had told me that if I ran into any trouble in his absence, I was to contact Dr. Matsumoto. Unfortunately, Dr. Matsumoto was out on business and could not return for some time. Was I too hasty? Perhaps I should have waited.
Maybe you could have written a letter.
It is indeed rude to visit without warning, which is why I had sent a letter prior to my arrival.
Ah, well. Don't I look like an asshole?
But it seems he had left before reading my letter.
Maybe that's why he left. Ugh, I hate that bitch. Later. Possible.
Perhaps I thought I should have waited for a reply before traveling to an unfamiliar city.
Oh.
Duh.
Quite.
But I can no longer spend time waiting idly for news.
No doubt there's an inn. Sure. Does he show up often?
No.
Well then, fuck it. I'm not doing a silly voice.
Okay.
Kaida.
Is something wrong, Father?
I'm bald.
He paused for a moment
very
and looked
distressing.
At me.
It seems I must depart for the city of Kyoto.
Is it for business again? He left the house often during that period, sometimes for days at a time. How long will you be gone?
I'm afraid I can't say. A month, perhaps. Maybe 2.
Oh. There was no hiding my disappointment. Nonetheless, I wasn't a child anymore. I couldn't beg him not to go or some other foolishness. Yes, I'd be lonely, but I was much more worried for him. Please, Father, be careful. They say that the city of Kyoto is dangerous. He only smiled and nodded.
Yep, sure is. You needn't fret. Yeah, I will be sure to send you letters often, so that you have no need to worry. Sometimes A, sometimes Q, sometimes a 7 if I'm feeling frisky. It's not a letter, but you'll still know I'm fine.
Okay, you promise? Father kept his promise.
Oh.
A new letter arrived so often I scarcely had the time to respond before another would arrive. He told me that he worried about me being home all by myself.
I'm running out of paper. Too many letters.
Then the letter stopped. I ran out of paper.
Yeah.
A whole month passed without no word. Father.
Oh, it is snowing.
They say Kyoto is full of Ronin. It is not a safe place.
Was Kyoto the capital at this point in time?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, no.
I know Kyoto was briefly the capital of Japan.
Kyoto was the imperial capital. That's where the emperor was. Mm-hmm. Technically, the shogun was in charge, and he was stationed in Edo, which is Tokyo.
Strictly speaking, wasn't the capital anywhere the emperor was operating out of? Yes. And people got sick of that because it kept freaking ruining the infrastructure of every city? Yeah, it would be like prosperous because the emperor was here, and then he'd die and they'd get a new one, and that city would fall into disrepair, and they'd be so used to prosper. But then that other city that was in disrepair would now be prosperous, and everyone hated it.
I can't say for all of them, but I know at this point, this is the at least 2 emperors were stationed here, up until Emperor Meiji and the Meiji Restoration, where he moved the capital to Edo, and they renamed it Tokyo. Yeah,
and then there was that whole multiple emperors, different sections of the country thing going on. That might have been before this.
That was way before this.
Okay.
This is like this takes.
Wasn't the multiple emperors like a byproduct of that though?
No, that was a different war you're talking about. The Boshin War was right after Perry showed up and basically held a gun to their head, saying, "Open the borders, you fucks."
Yeah. Well, I mean, they really did have to. This There's a certain point you have to draw a line.
Yeah, but it's like the treaties they were forced to sign were pretty shit for them.
Yeah.
So it...
Probably, yes.
And after they had their little devotion war, which is the civil war basically, they did eventually like get to where they could renegotiate those treaties because they had, you know, more allies in the foreign world, specifically Britain and France.
Which is what you get when you don't isolate yourselves, dumb bastards.
Yeah, and it always amuses me, but I think it's also kind of sad for some people, but it was originally the shogun, because they were forced to sign this treaty, the imperialists who supported the emperor were like, the shogun failed us, we must expel the foreigners, and blah, blah, blah. And then, of course, by the time the war's over and the emperor's now fully in charge, he was like, yeah, we're gonna have to, you know, play nice with the foreigners. That's the only way. We can't expel foreigners, we're gonna have to be nice.
Hypocrisy at its finest. And bureaucracy.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, it is not a safe place.
Usually a samurai is paid by their house, but ronin who report to no house often rob people in order to make ends meet.
Kind of dicks that way.
Yeah. They're nothing more than violent criminals who hide behind the image of the samurai. Such is the state of the city of Kyoto, the city of ronin.
Alright, she's gonna meet one of these guys, and then Dream Boy's gonna come along and save her.
Sort of. Small wonder, then, that I worried for my father. My mind would concoct horrible possibilities, and I often found myself depressed and tense. First, I suppose I need to find a place to stay. Lost in thought, I didn't notice nightfall descend. If I was honest with myself, I hadn't the faintest idea of how long searching for him would take. I'd brought a negligible sum of money with me, enough to last me a month if used wisely.
That's not negligible.
Yeah. Finding father in this window of time was a must. Otherwise, I wouldn't have to depend on Dr. Matsumoto returning.
Would have to depend.
Yes. Otherwise, I would have to depend on Dr. Matsumoto returning in this time, or else I'd be forced to return home without a word.
He sent so many letters, you'd think I'd be able to make some word.
Well, at any rate, I should try and be as frugal as possible. I lengthened my stride and set off on my path. Fortunately for me, men's clothing assisted with keeping a quicker pace than a women's.
She's in disguise?
Sorta. I would say putting pants on doesn't really change how you look overall, but...
They clearly made it a distinction that it was men's clothing and not female clothing.
Well, Kyoto presented many dangers to a young girl hoping to explore the city without direction. My disguise, such as it was, proved successful, and I'd safely made it all the way to Kyoto. Such success went to my head and led me to believe I could explore Kyoto as I pleased. But Kyoto is not a safe place. I should have remembered that.
I accidentally stumbled into Gerudo territory, and there was some irony as we quickly figured out who I was and who I said I was. But in fact, someone in disguise, it prompting to an entire search of everyone in the city to see if this was the case, and over half the population had to leave.
Oh, yeah, I love the Gerudo.
They, like, half of them know Link's a dude at this point, and don't care. It's like, it's really not much of a goddamn rule, is it?
No.
Everyone's fine with it except the guards of the city, apparently.
Apparently. Indeed, I had somehow convinced myself that the city's hidden dangers didn't apply to me.
Hey, kid! Meh.
I was about to discover otherwise. I spun around. In the street in front of me were 3 ronin.
What? No, there weren't.
Can I help you?
Yeah, I need my eyes.
I did my best to keep my voice calm, reaching nonchalantly for my kodachi. My father encouraged me to take sword lessons. I kept with them, and I did rather well. I was confident enough in defending myself. However, perhaps my overconfidence in myself is what served the situation at hand to me. I'd messed up and let my guard down.
Are you done having an inner monologue, or can we fight already? Meh.
There was a chance I could take them on, but there were 3 of them and 1 of me.
Pretty nice blades you got there, kid. Meh.
Only then did I realize they were far more interested in my sword than they were in me.
We really couldn't have just copy-pasted this guy, or like put outlines behind him. Looks a bit much for a pup like this, right? Meh. Give it here, okay? We'll put it to good use.
But the sword wasn't just some blade I'd picked up. It was a family heirloom spanning generations. There was no way I could give it to the ronin, though I had a feeling they wouldn't understand. In such a situation, the best decision was undoubtedly to retreat. I turned and ran as fast as my legs could.
Hey, get back here, you little bastard. Just because we don't have eyes doesn't mean you can hide from us. Man.
Gosh, they sure don't give up easily, do they? I felt like I'd been running for quite a while, but I could still hear the Ronin cursing loudly.
Spread out. There's only one of her and 3 of us. You fool, you keep having us imagined. Damn it, shut up.
I ducked into an alley, flattening against the wall.
He's got puppets on his sides.
After deciding they weren't too close, I crept farther into the alley afoot, just like ventriloquist dummies.
Yeah.
Someone left a couple
He's got
sheets.
one on each hand. He's like, man, there's 3 of us, she.
Someone left a couple of sheets of wood leaning against one of the houses, a perfect hiding spot.
Is it?
What luck, I thought, kneeling down under them. It works in like every anime ever, so...
That or just in a pile of boxes or something.
Yeah. This is my way to escape this mess.
Or someone grabs you off the street and pulls you into their house.
Covers your mouth.
Acts like you're their sister or housemate or something.
Huh? I was listening for sounds intently. A suspicious calm entered my mind.
It's better than a suspicious clam entering your mind.
Yes. It's like, oh God, how did you get in there? Get out!
I'm not selling drugs or anything. Wanna buy a watch? They're legal.
I'd expected...
Pretty suspicious, clam.
I'd expected to hear the Ronin yelling to each other, looking for me, but seconds turned into minutes. I heard nothing. I was about to sneak out and have a look when...
Ow!
What? My plan to investigate was immediately halted. Remaining silent and hidden was more important. Still...
Damn you, man. What's this? Why won't you die? Damn it, we gotta get out of here. Let's cheese it, boys.
It was then that the true fear began to set in. There was something dangerous out there. Something quite possibly lethal. My imagination conjured up no shortage of gruesome theories. Even so, I could feel an itch of curiosity. I wanted to know what was out there. Carefully, I peeked around the corner's edge. The cold reflection of moonlight upon a blade glared at me, and my eyes followed it to the arm that held it, clad in a coat of light blue.
But we can't show that.
Had this person saved me? But no slower than it appeared, my hope vanished.
Help me, Shane.
I heard the Ronin stumbling to beg for his life. The person in the blue coat said nothing, just stepped forward, his sword raised.
Ow!
A high, screeching laugh cut the man's scream. The blade fell through the air like a butcher's knife rather than a sword. No skill, just death.
Stop hitting my raspberry jam, Shane. My mom worked hard to make that for me. You know how rare raspberries are in Japan?
The peach turned...
Pretty damn rare, as it turns out. I actually don't know how rare raspberries are in Japan. They might be plentiful.
Well, today they might be, but
oh,
who
yeah,
knows
sure.
back then.
Yeah, back then, unlikely.
The scream turned wet, caught, and disappeared like air, leaving half-empty bellows. My eyes went wide. I had just witnessed a murder. Any strength I'd received vanished quickly. My legs gave way, and I crumbled to the ground. My eyes widened like busted shells. He died...
Damn it, you're going with the strawberry jam now. How many of my jams are gonna break, son?
He died with the first blow, but as I watched, the blades fell, carving lines into the corpse.
I knew I shouldn't have brought my jam collection with me into Kyoto when I was gonna be robbing people.
The soft slip of a blade through flesh, the silent creep of blood across the ground. I felt nothing from them but madness. Their only desire was raw, animalistic violence. Whatever they were, it wasn't human.
I mean, could just be human, but, you know,
They
twisted.
were broken.
That's a better word for it.
I could feel my throat clenched tightly, and a warm, dark smell brushed against my face.
It smelled like berries.
I slowly recognized the coppery tang of blood. An icy bolt of fear ran down my spine, crawling into my limbs and freezing me in place.
Also the snow. It's very cold.
Yes. I was terrified. What was I going to do? What could I do? You have to run, Kaida.
No. Stay hidden and silent.
I forced my jaw open and drew a ragged breath. She's not the smartest cookie on the planet.
You don't say.
This is the only chance I'd get. I had to... Ah! My body, still numb with fear, was unresponsive. I lurched sideways against the stacked wood, and with a rough clatter, it collapsed.
Well...
Don't think they're human, Adam.
Pardon us, do you have any jam?
The creatures turned, coats drenched in blood. Their eyes locked with mine and bore into me. Hideous grins split their inhuman faces, shaking with excitement at prey to slaughter.
Alright, look, you can call them demonic if you want. The red eyes sort of suggest some sort of presence about them. The faces are definitely human, though. They have a nose, a jaw, a mouth, eyes. Those are clearly human faces. To call them inhuman is an inaccuracy. That's like saying, ooh, their hair was like a color I'd never seen before. Like, no.
That's white.
It's white, yes.
I had to run. I couldn't die yet, but my legs refused to move. Their hideous, cackling laughter echoed. I was gonna die. My body was frozen with terror. I couldn't even scream. This was it. This was the end.
Wow, short playthrough. This is the thing you were obsessed with.
Yes.
Yeah.
What? I watched them raise their bloody swords.
No, our boysenberry!
Is boysenberry red?
I think it's more of a purpley.
Yeah, that's.
I used rasin straw. I've pretty much... Like, cherries don't really make good jam as far as I know.
Yeah. I watched them raise their bloody swords, the moon glinting off the metal. Then there was a flash of light and the soft splash of blood. I could feel it, warm and sticky.
Ew.
Bile began to rise in my throat. But before disgust took hold, I heard a voice.
Oh look, he's dreamy.
These are reoccurring characters that you can give stupid voices to should you choose.
Let me get a feel for him first. Really?
The words suggested disappointment, but the voice sounded happy.
And here I was planning to take care of them all. Can't you have picked another day to work fast? Saito?
As he spoke, the strange man smiled, almost as if he were enjoying himself.
I only did my job. Unlike you, I take no pleasure in battle. That's not a very nice thing to say.
He laughed.
You don't even bother to deny it. Let's sort this out now in the middle of a murder.
The man called Saito sighed with the air of a long-suffering companion and looked at me.
You there, you seem like a main character. Maybe, but if you just sat back and let them kill this kid, you could have saved us some trouble.
His tone was light, but it confirmed my fears. I may have escaped the schemes of the Ronin, but I was ensnared by something much darker.
Perhaps that decision is not ours to make.
Huh? Then, who was in charge of these two? Their conversation led me to believe they are part of an organization. The uniforms didn't give it away?
Fashion Ronin.
As I thought about it, I recalled hearing about men with blue coats. Ah.
You're the cops! Cheese it!
Close enough. That's kind of how they were supposed to act at the beginning. My thoughts were interrupted by a dark shape sliding into view. If I had to say that there was a canon love interest, it's him.
Purple eyes make way too serious?
Yes.
Fascinating.
Oh. I swallowed hard. The moonlight shone off his smooth dark hair. For reasons I couldn't fathom, in that moment the light on his hair made me think of the wistfulness of flower petals.
Alright, this guy's getting the voice.
It was almost as if the cherry trees were blooming out of season. Good thing he's not the one I'm going after then.
The problem, do I want him to have a stupid voice or a sort of gruff voice? I want to save my stupid voice for a more common character.
Okay.
Luck. Luck is not your friend tonight.
His voice was cold and quiet like a blade of ice. Blue-white moonlight lit his slender face and shone from the blade pointed at my chest. But it wasn't the sword making my breath catch. It was his eyes. They were fierce and hard, but somewhere behind them, I could catch a glimpse of something else.
It's called a brain, sweetheart. I realize you need one, but don't go taking other people's.
Zombie main character.
You know it's a thing.
Yeah.
Zombie dating sim. I bet it's a goddamn
I
thing.
know there was a movie about it.
That was like Cold Bodies, I think.
Yeah.
Or Warm Bodies. One of those.
Yeah.
Which was based on the book.
Yeah. There could be no doubt that he was prepared to kill me, and yet he looked troubled. Not kindness, but perhaps mercy?
You're covered in jam and it will never come out. Run, and I will kill you. Do you understand?
I nodded. There was no doubt he meant every word he said. He stared at me for a moment, then grimaced and put his sword away, sighing. What? I was too surprised to stop myself from speaking, and it quickly became apparent that I wasn't the only one.
Wait.
Hijikata.
Hijikata? Are you sure about this? This kid saw everything. That can't be good.
As he spoke to the man he called Hijikata, his eyes narrowed. The man called Hijikata frowned back at him.
Shut up. You annoy me. If you keep that up, you know what we're going to have to do.
It was clear enough that what I'd seen was something they wanted to keep hidden. The more they said, the more I got it, and it was clear none of us wanted such a thing.
I really think it's gonna come back to bite us in the ass if we let this kid go.
The way he looked at me made me feel as if he'd read my mind.
So we should just kill people now. No. I'll see what to do with this kid when we get back. I agree with Commander. If we remain here, we're likely to be seen again.
Then he looked down at the creature he'd killed as though he'd forgotten the whole ordeal.
If they have this sort of reaction to blood... I mean jam, sorry. I'm just changing it canonically. It's not blood, it's all just jam. Except one guy.
There's gonna be so much jam in
Well, there's one guy who, I know he's in this game. He's going to be sort of different and loopy. He thinks it's all salsa. If they have this sort of reaction to jam, then they don't seem like they'll be very practical. Damn.
He peered down
What
at the
a waste
corpse,
of good jam.
his face an emotionless mask. When he looked back up at his companions, however, his eyes narrowed.
As for you two, drop the Dave
Hijikata
and Commander act. Keep a low profile.
Then why are you in uniform?
Maybe you shouldn't have purple eyes either. I mean, green and blue can't have been terribly common in Japan at the time either, but they are normal eye colors. Then maybe they should at least wear clothes that don't coordinate with their eye color like a bunch of divas.
They do, don't they?
Yeah, they do. Had no go. Now you can't unsee it. I'm gonna bet it's a theme in this organization.
It probably is.
What? Come on, man. I was having such a good day. You can't be serious. Aren't our blues a bit of a giveaway?
He was right. Even I had heard stories about a gang of cruel men in blue coats who cut people down in the streets, but I didn't know how to confront the dilemma pretending I didn't see any of these horrors. My mind swirled through a pool of worries and thoughts, almost as if I was being drawn into their world. Almost as if I'm going to spend the rest of this game in these people's company.
Oh, she has a lot of inner monologue.
A world where there is nothing strange in carrying on a normal conversation in the dead of night with corpses for company.
That would be true if you were carrying on a conversation instead of just thinking to yourself, hon. What should we do with the bodies then? There doesn't seem to be any physical signs.
Hijikata thought for a moment before he spoke.
Just take them. Yamazaki, rather, can deal with the... Yamakaze's a douche. Yamazaki can deal with the rest, though. As you wish. Another man cut down in the streets, huh? Doing a great job here, aren't we, boys?
He gave a derisive bark of laughter.
So long as we keep our mouths shut, I don't think anyone will know we were here.
At me, and I got the distinct feeling his words weren't for his companions. It was common for people to be murdered in Kyoto. It was a dangerous city, after all.
That's why it's so friendly. Wait.
It's friendly, except for the people with swords, who are complete assholes.
Which are apparently common.
Yes. I knew that, of course. But to see it happen? That was something else entirely.
Well, you should have checked into an inn, shouldn't you have?
Shouldn't have come to Kyoto.
Yeah.
Should have waited for Dr. Matsumoto to write you back.
Indeed.
If death was such an easy thing in Kyoto, I thought, then the city itself must surely be mad.
Mad, I say! Hold on, I'm gonna get real close to you. Ah yes, we did save you, didn't we?
Huh? I didn't realize right away he was speaking. What do you mean you saved me? Well, he did have a point. Despite their threats, they saved my life.
Ah, so you understand then.
I stood up as steadily as I could manage, brushed some dirt off my clothes, and bowed. Thank you very much. I apologize for not thanking you earlier. There was so much going on. I was a little confused. I glanced up at them tentatively. The man called okay, I actually sure I don't, whatever.
Probably not Hajime. That sounds more
Hajime?
Eastern, like Middle Eastern.
Yeah. Also looked confused. His eyes were wide and he had an expression I couldn't place. Hijikata looked as though he'd taken a bite of something continuing. I know it seems weird to
Who the hell makes
say
jam
that.
out of sour apples? Madness,
I should say thanks, so
It's the worst apple butter jam I've ever had.
I looked up. Saito and Hijikata both stared pointedly at anything but me, and the third man was shaking with laughter. This guy, you can't tell, is an asshole.
Yeah, that had clued in. Oh man. Well, my apologies. I certainly didn't tell you to, didn't I?
He broke out in laughter again, so much so that he was forced to wipe a few tears from his eyes as he straightened up.
Well, you're welcome. I'm Soji Okita.
Yes.
Nice to see a kid who knows how to be polite.
Thank you for helping me. Not quite sure what else to do, I bowed again.
Be thanking us. The one you should be thanking for saving your life is Hajime Saito over there. And this bossy guy here is... What the hell do you think you're doing, Okita? Read your concern, but we must move.
Whatever mirth was inspired was gone. The man called Saito now spoke with quiet urgency. The man named Kita grabbed hold of my wrist, smiled, and led us down the street. His grip was a touch too tight to be friendly, his fingers like iron cables around me. There was no question.
People are looking for them, or no. But, like, we don't know that she's here.
This is the city of murder. They could just kill you, toss your body in a dumpster, and it would be your fault for being outside.
That's not great either, you know.
I know. Anyway, I'm gonna end this episode here.
At 32 minutes?
Yes.
Ow. I mean, I noticed it when it was at 20, but I didn't feel like telling you.
Well, I was gonna make a 30-minute episode anyway.
Oh, bravo.
Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Doodles.